This delicious arrowroot stew is a blend of colorful vegetables that make up this absolutely filling stew, which is so easy to make. It's very cheap. That is, it's budget friendly, and it's just worth trying. Just look at that. Wow. You can serve this delicious arrowroot stew as a main course, and everyone is going to fully enjoy their meal. The best part about the recipe is that you can throw in more vegetables and make this delicious, very filling arrowroot stew. The first step to making this delicious vegan-friendly arrowroot stew is to prep up all your ingredients, and I've already done that. So over here I have my arrowroots, of course, because that is a key ingredient. Also, I have some potatoes, carrots, zucchini, tomatoes, some onions, red capsicum, and garlic. And you can add any vegetable that you have in the fridge, and the stew is going to turn out totally amazing. Because I've prepped up everything, I'm ready to cook. So I'm going to place a heavy bottomed pot over medium flame. Add in 2 tablespoons of cooking oil. And also for this recipe, you're going to need a few spices. Actually, there are 4 spices which are going to add in so much flavor to our arrowroot stew. My oil is ready, so I'm going to add in my onions. That is 1 large onion, and then I'm going to saute my onions for at least 1 minute, or until you get a very lovely golden brown color on the onions. Once your onion starts to brown, you're going to add in garlic. This is 4 cloves of garlic. Cook the garlic for at least 30 seconds until the raw garlic flavor is gone. And browning the onions also is going to add in so much flavor. So don't skip on browning the onions. Stir continuously as the garlic cooks because it burns super fast. When ready, you're going to add in your tomatoes, carrots, tomato paste, stir in everything together until fully combined, and then next you're going to be adding in a splash of water. This is going to help the tomatoes to cook until very mushy, or until they are totally cooked. So you're going to stir in the water. Also at this point, you're going to be adding in your spices. That is paprika, garlic powder, cumin, and 2 seasoning cubes. They can be either vegetable, beef, or chicken seasoning cubes. Also, the seasoning cubes are quite optional. You can switch with some salt, and still the stew is going to be very delicious. And this is how they're looking. As you can see, the sauce is looking very delicious already. Just look at that. Cook your tomatoes for around a minute until mushy. The sauce is looking very delicious, so I'm going to be adding in my arrowroots at this point because they're not the same size as the potatoes. So I'm going to wait for the arrowroots to cook for around 5 minutes before adding in my potatoes. Stir in the arrowroots and then add in 2 cups of water. You can tell this is going to be very delicious just by looking at the color of the sauce. Oh my, just look at this. Yum. Stir in the arrowroots and then you're going to cover and let this come to a boil. And then you're going to let this cook for around 5 minutes. Once everything comes to a boil, you're going to check the seasoning. If it's not perfect, you're going to be adding in more salt to perfect this delicious vegan-friendly stew. Now, it's been around 10 minutes of slowly cooking my arrowroot stew, and it's looking so good. The arrowroots are starting to fall apart, not completely falling apart, but they are tender. Also, the potatoes are well cooked. So at this point, I'm going to be adding in some zucchini and my red capsicum. The zucchini and red capsicum are going to add in a very nice color to our stew. So I'm going to cover and cook for another 2 minutes. Please don't overcook your arrowroots because they're totally going to fall apart. Meanwhile, I'm going to grab a plate, which I'm going to be serving my delicious arrowroot stew, and I just can't wait. Over here, I have some coriander to garnish my stew once the arrowroot stew is ready. Pick a serving spoon, ready to serve my delicious stew. And in those 10 to 15 minutes, the sauce is going to thicken up and look so delicious. So trust me, you have to wait for the sauce to thicken up and look very delicious. Wow, just wow. This is how my stew is looking. The zucchini is cooked and also the arrowroots are fully cooked. As you can see, they're falling apart. The potatoes are cooked also. So delicious. So I'm going to garnish with coriander. Stir in the coriander. Yum. When done making your arrowroot stew, it's going to be looking totally delicious and very vibrant. Actually, you can call this stew Rasta arrowroot stew. Yeah, because it's filled with very colorful and vibrant vegetables. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll be trying out this delicious one-pot arrowroot stew.